Yo, yo. Check, check, check. We're live. We're live. Lush Louisville. Episode 17.
Yeah.
17. That is definitely worth a couple air horns. It just occurred to me, we're more than halfway through the second season. That is crazy. Time is flying. Gotta watch the time because it's flying right by. You know we got my boy in here, always doing his thing. Just producers, send me your beats. Just send me beats and I'm gonna play them. Get you some exposure. This is T Lanky's I Don't Know His New. It's the title of the beat. Let me get a little better view get going here. Yes, sir. Big show today. We got Blase, Grudy, and Kevin Dahl. They don't have a joint Instagram, but there we go. Oh, he don't even. Yeah. But yeah, Blase and Kevin, some really dope musicians. I'm gonna get into a little bit more about them. But how's everybody's week? How's everybody doing? Jump in the chat here. What we got going on? Let's see where we're at. On my channel, I know we're live on YouTube. Yes, sir. And we should be live on Twitch. Well, maybe. Yeah, we're live. How's everybody doing? Nobody's in the chat yet, but you know. But yeah, so my week, I worked again at Amazon. That job is very tiring, but overtime is nice. I worked like 11 hours yesterday, just delivering packages. A lot of stuff to deliver. People really order things, obviously, but I got one day off and I go back tomorrow. They changed my schedule, so that was nice. We got another little tune here from T Lanky called Leaf. What else did I do this week? I made some beats, sent them to some various different artists. I've got an artist coming in town next weekend to work. And I actually might get him on the podcast. That would make a lot of sense because he's actually going to be here. But we'll see. That's a whole nother venture. What else is going on? Our president has corona. Is he gonna live? Is he gonna die? We don't know. It's insane, but Anybody else have anything crazy go on this week? We got nobody's in the chat yet. Come on, the chat was jumping last week. Well, we'll get people in here for sure. So let me just give you a little background on Blase and Kevin. So they're two musicians that I went to. I met them in middle school. They were a grade ahead of me. We all three went to Kammer, and they play sax. I play alto sax, and they play. Kevin plays mainly alto, but I know they both play tenor, and Blase plays primarily tenor, but I know he also plays alto too. So. I grew up in band with them at Kammer, and then saw them at All County and All State Band in high school, and then me and Blase linked up a couple of summers ago when I was recording him, but he was rapping, and then more recently I started working at Kroger. When I started working like a weekend, Kevin Dahl started working there. And then me and him kind of, and he's great friends with Blase, so we've all met up and we've done some playing together, some jamming, and showed me a lot of really cool things. Some super dope musicians and good people to be around and just cool guys. And we got a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna get them on here. we'll get it going here. Let's see what they've got to offer us. All right, we're going to have to make this. Yo, yo. Hey, welcome to the podcast, everybody. Blase Grudy and Kevin Dahl.
How y'all doing?
Hey, buddy. How y'all doing? How's y'all day been?
Pretty good so far.
It's been great, man. I just practiced my saxophone a little bit while Kevin was here. I'm waiting for my package to deliver so I can finish this PC build. And
Yes.
Man.
Awesome, man. That's great. So I was just kind of giving everybody just a little bit of rundown of kind of how I know you guys and what y'all do. But tell us kind of, I mean, y'all can go individually, what's your background in Louisville? Where'd you grow up and where'd you go to school? Just things like that. Either one of y'all can go first, whatever y'all want to do.
You want to go first?
You go ahead.
All right. Well, I think I can speak for both of us. We're both born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. Both went to Norton Elementary. Both went to Cameron Middle School after that. Both went to Ballard High School after that. I went to U of L. He went to Michigan State.
Yep.
Michigan State. Just pretty much been following music our whole lives. I started playing saxophone when I was in about like third grade, but then fourth grade, there was actually like a band class. So then I started taking that. And then once I got to middle school, I started taking lessons with like an actual teacher type shit.
Uh-huh.
And so Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing like Blase said. I've been here my whole life pretty much. I went to school out of state, but then came back because I love it so much. As far as like when I started music when Miss Cornish came into Norton Elementary. She was like the first band director that I got to, interface with. And I had no idea what I wanted to play. And then she stuck a saxophone with just the neck, like in my face. And she was like, see if you can get a sound out of that. And then I could. And then later on, my dad asked what I picked. And I said saxophone. And he said, why? Or he asked why. And I said, because I think it looks cool.
There you go. Yeah.
So
I actually started playing saxophone though because my dad started playing saxophone before me. So me and my sister would joke on him mercilessly because he didn't have a private instructor or teacher or anything. He literally bought videotape and put it in the TV and was like, "How do I do this shit?" So he started playing and taking lessons, and then one day he showed me how to do it, and I was like, "Damn, it's pretty cool." I wasn't into it though, like he was, until I started playing and like getting, kind of good, following him around like when he would take lessons. And then once I hit school, then I was like, oh, I can actually get good at this and like be dope. So then I started taking lessons with like serious teachers and like really putting time into practicing was the main thing.
Right. And wait, you were talking about your private teacher in middle school, Blase. Are you talking about Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all three of us took from the same private instructor. But I'm trying to think when I was in, I guess it was fifth grade is when I started playing. Because y'all remember Mr. Stewart from Ballard?
Yep. Yeah, man. He's a great guy. Like right before.
Yeah, he came to Dunn, and they give us like a tutorial or whatever, and if we want to take band. And I was like, man, I'm gonna play the saxophone. It looks cool. It's it just being like young. The saxophone is just like it's just a smooth instrument, and like everybody wants to play. But that's what most kids wanted to play was the saxophone. So I was like, dang. But only like 3 of them, including me, actually stuck with it.
Yeah, that's always is.
Yeah, always I swear. I know. Yep. I'm always telling people, I'm like, I'll just pick it back up. But they're like, But that's how it goes, So. All right, cool. So what, you've got your, well, y'all went to the same school from elementary through high school?
Yeah.
I didn't know y'all went to the same elementary school. So were y'all always tight, like good friends?
And it went even further back than that. We actually met at a summer camp when we were really young. Yeah. And this is so stupid, but I'm going to tell him.
I'll tell him, bro.
Tell us.
So I knew how to balance myself on my thumbs, like on the floor.
Wow.
Yeah. It was cool. Hard, back in those days or whatever.
You're right.
But I taught Blase how to do that, and then we were best friends ever since.
Yeah.
And this may touch on some of the topics that we have for the later discussion, but right after that, we started being interested in the same things. So we did magic together for many years. We did, and then finally, music was the one that stuck. And I think it's because we had, honestly, Kevin, we had some of the best instructors.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so
blessed.
I'm so thankful for the people that showed us how to play our horn, because we owe it all to them, you know. So
that's a great point. You're not wrong at all. That's funny you mentioned Miss Cornish. I don't even remember the last time I saw her, but I remember those days in band at Cameraman. It's crazy. Man. It's been over 10 years, I guess now. That's crazy. But you're right. Those and her, Mr. Jones, and our high school directors is very, very thankful for all of them.
Yeah, dude. Like, I literally, people ask me, like, how are you so good? Like, and I'm like, in my mind, I don't even think I'm good, but I'm like, dude, I wouldn't even know how to do this if someone didn't teach me. Like, I didn't just pick this shit up and start playing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But some people do that. Some people just pick up an instrument and they can just feel it. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm just a regular human being. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, you meet some people along the way who they have an inherent ability, and then they tell you that they don't shed, and that makes you cry for a week. You know,
it makes you cry.
So,
yeah. So, tell us about your when I was taken from Mr. Jones. Well, so I grew up really in like the classical band setting, and I guess y'all kind of did too, but you all kind of, I don't know, I was never able to get any jazz instruction out of Mr. Jones, I guess because he just, had a different idea of a different route for me, but I'm like more classically centered, but I can still improvise and play jazz, but you guys are some of the best jazz musicians that I know. So tell us about jazz. Enlighten us. Like what made you want to do it, and like what do you do? What exactly is it? Like just,
First,
you're very kind for saying that. First off, Kevin.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate the respect, for real. But when I was younger, of course, I always loved rap music. It's a huge influence on me. Everything I do, hip hop, rap, trap, all of it, I love it. And we always like freestyle rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was like hard to do, bro. It is hard to rhyme in time, like especially when you're playing a beat. Like, rhyming like without a beat is a little bit easier, but when you got a beat and it's forcing you to stay in time, and you got to next syllable and the next phrase and think of the next word I'm with, that's so intriguing to me. And then once I figured out that jazz is exactly that, but with phrase notes and the thing of the next, that blew my fucking mind, because my whole perspective of music back then was reading notes off the page, learning your scales, playing in tune, being, just Johnny on the spot at rehearsal. Right. I had no idea that people could freestyle on a saxophone.
Right.
And like, bro, I already play the saxophone. Like, what the fuck? Teach me how to do this shit. So then going to, Jamie Ebersol camps and like learning how to do jazz. Like, what do you do? And then, life's fucking been crazy ever since then, because it just
that's a great comparison, improvisation and jazz and then freestyle rapping, because you're right, it's all you've got your vocabulary, your language with jazz improvising, and you've got language in rap, obviously, because you're talking. That's a great comparison. I like that.
Yeah, just to add, there is like, I don't know, this exists in pedagogy, I believe, in general, just teaching music. This idea that Western classical music is the only way to gain facility on an instrument. And that's not necessarily an inherently bad thing to learn classical first. In fact, I'm very thankful that I learned classical music first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it gave me the facilities to do what I can do now. But with that being said, in the school systems, there's just not as much funding allocated towards jazz programs. And that's mainly because it's not just that teachers are out to get jazz students, or it's the devil's music. That's long gone. Now it's...
Give me a break. Yeah. My bad. You good? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry. Continue.
Okay, well, I mean, basically, yes.
Oh my God.
Is some, okay,
My bad. I've got
Yeah.
it's my monitor. All right, go ahead.
you know, first going to James' idea, this improvisation. And
Mhm.
like I said, Kevin, it is a language, just like freestyling and stuff like that. So you have these things in your head that you know work over particular chord changes and stuff like that. And so the first part, is just plugging those in. And if you don't know anything, like if you don't have any vocabulary, that's when you go to the records and you transcribe.
Yeah.
So those are
Okay.
the
Yeah.
two most important steps, I would say, is number one, finding stuff that you think sounds good, copying it almost exactly to a T, and then using that in your own improvisation.
Yeah.
Okay. So dive a little deeper into transcribing. What exactly is that, and how do you all go about that?
Hop on this for 1 second. Transcribing is the hardest thing to do known to mankind, and I hate it because I suck at it, and every time I do it, I get better at it. So it's just a vicious cycle. But pretty much transcribing is listening to a record. Let's say you pull up and you listen to some John Coltrane, and you're like, damn, that sounded really dope. I want to sound like that. How do I sound like that? The only way to do it is to play exactly what he played. So what that means is listening to it with your horn in your hands and spinning it back 1,000,000 times to listen to 30 seconds to try to play the same notes he's doing. And it takes forever for normal human beings, but people that have like perfect pitch and shit, they can do it like almost instantly, which is insane.
Yeah.
But so transcribing is really just listening so intently and for so long and for so many times and for so many weeks and so many months and playing it on your instrument with it in time that you just learn a whole solo. And then once you learn that whole solo, holy shit, you sound like John Coltrane now. You know what I'm saying? And then what you can do even further is you can pick that apart. You can cut it in half, you can cut it in fourths, you can pick out a certain 2/5 that you like to play, and you can practice it in all 12 keys. And then on any song you play after that, you can whip that shit out and sound like Coltrane. Right. So it's like taking his sentences and his raps and his rhymes and using it when I rhyme. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Coltrane's raps, hell yeah.
There's part of I transcribed this my sophomore year in college, but I still have at least part of the solo. This is on Oleo, John Coltrane Oleo.
Yeah.
With I think it's with Miles.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
One more time. So that I've had that in my lexicon for years, and that'll pop up in any rhythm changes tune that I play. I'll make sure it's a point to play that because that's hip language. And I don't, the other thing, part of like jazz is you can take it in two different directions, really. For people like Blase and I, we had a theoretical background, understanding music theory, and that helps out a lot. But for people who have more intuitive ears that can just hear things right off the bat, they don't necessarily need to understand what they're playing. They just need to know what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And dive into jazz. Start recognizing that those two things aren't separate at all. Yeah. They're actually intermingled. And so when you do one, you're getting better at the other. And transcription is a way of doing both. Because if you're going to spend 3 weeks on a solo, you're probably going to think about it even when you're not playing. And you're going to be like, played a B flat major 7 over, an A flat chord. Like, what is that? And then you may ask your teacher or from there, you start gaining knowledge on both sides of the coin.
Right.
So,
and here's the thing that's so vicious about all this stuff is when you transcribe a solo, you can transcribe it and spend time with it and play it for a whole year straight. But once you move on to the next one, sometimes you forget that first one. So it's like everything you do just kind of comes at a cost, and that cost is time. So it's like the more time you have, the more you can devote to this, the better you can get. But if you don't have that much time, you're going to be forgetting a lot of shit all the time. Like I've learned hundreds of solos And I don't think I could pick up my horn and play one right now. You know what I'm saying? Back then when I learned it, I could play the shit out of it. But now it's like I pick it up and I can only have bits and pieces. And the bits and pieces that you can remember that stick in your mind are the ones that you use in your playing.
Right.
So it's like still there's a debate on whether or not transcribing is even worth it because of that simple fact. Because you learn this whole solo and then you forget it and you don't really pull that much out of it. You know, but if you can to take specific parts and keep that in your playing for years and years, then you just make that player's language. Yeah. You know, it's really, you know, like some people say you shouldn't do it and some people say you should only do it. So,
well, I think, you know, furthering that, I think that transcription is an integral part of learning jazz music, but, you know, there are players out there, take for instance, I think one of the best tenor saxophonists alive, Chris Potter. He's in a master class. I think it's at Berkeley. It's online on YouTube for everyone to check out. It's like 50 minutes of just awesome saxophone stuff. But he is a guy he's never transcribed a full solo his entire career. He's never sat down and learned an entire Sonny Rollins solo. You know, all he does is he picks out the stuff that he loves, and then he learns that, and that's it. Yeah. And that is, you know, there are pros to that. Mostly being that you develop your personal style doing that. Mm-hmm. If you want to be able to sound like someone, take for instance Train, then that takes many, many, many solos, full solos, in order to understand the breadth of his language.
Exactly.
So it depends on your goals, really.
Right. And what he was talking about with Chris Potter is like, you can, if you listen to a solo and you're like, damn, this 5 seconds right here just sounds so dope, and I think that's the coolest part of this whole song, just transcribe that 5 seconds. You don't need to transcribe the whole dang thing. Like, for example, me and him were both listening to this Chris Potter record, and like, he does this nasty tritone lick, we can play it, this nasty tritone lick right before he goes into the song. And it was so nasty that I was like, dude, I have to sit and use 3 hours of my time to figure out what he just fucking played. Yeah. And it's this right here. It was so fucking nasty. And I was like, dude, I have to learn that. And now it's stuck with me. And me and him trade it back and forth when we're playing songs and playing gigs and shit. Because it's that one little snippet that I remembered.
Okay.
You know?
Right. Now that's super cool. So y'all, both of y'all have grown up together, and now you all have like a pretty much a second language with this jazz improvisation stuff. So you just said, Blase, y'all are playing gigs together and you're playing off each other. And, you know, people do that. But if you have a tight connection like that, it's probably even way, way doper because especially if y'all play together all the time, it's like y'all almost probably just know what you're going to play. That's super cool.
We try to shed together as much as we possibly can, not just because we're best friends, but also to develop exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. When you have someone who's ready, like, I'll hit him up, I'll text him, and I'll be like, hey, man, you want to shed in an hour? And if he's free, we're shedding. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not... and that is that's a great relationship to have because you can learn so much more by shedding with someone than just by yourself.
And the thing is, the stuff that both of us learn, we have almost a hive mind. Like, we can add our collection of knowledge together.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Certain angles and, like, learn and play and sound better, you know? So it's like some stuff sticks better with him, some stuff sticks better with me. And it's like when we're practicing, we're constantly pushing that against each other and, like, pushing each other in, like, the best, most creative ways. Especially, it's nice to, like, practice with somebody that knows what the fuck I'm talking about too, because some people, like, you have to tell them what a diminished scale is, and then when you're trying to practice, you're teaching them at the same time, and it's like when someone's on the same level, bro, we can just play something and he'll be like, yep, I'd like say let, like, you don't have to say a word.
Yeah. Right.
So that practicing scales, practicing, you know, pre-assigned licks over chords, you know, practicing transcriptions. If we're both running the record back, each of us picks up a few notes here and there, and we add it all together. You know, so it's just like, it's really nice to be able to have like a soundboard to like bounce stuff off of, you know?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So y'all are like talking to each other, but you're playing your instrument.
Exactly, bro. Well, that's what all instrument playing is. When you see talking to each other, man. and how in sync that conversation is with no stutters, no misunderstandings. Like,
Yep, being able to catch stuff too, just
yeah.
like you're saying. Because like if a drummer knows when I play, if you can catch that last part, doo dee da boo da, and hit the ride,
Right.
that we've made an arrangement.
Yeah.
But we've taken no time out of our schedules to do that. We've heard each other play enough that we can do that.
And there's like little things where it's
That's
like
amazing. That's interesting.
da, 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 and like the rhythm section will hit the response if you do the call that everybody knows. You know,
it's kind of like do you remember and the listeners at home? Do you remember when you're in like fifth grade, or not even fifth grade, maybe like kindergarten, and the teacher goes, and then everyone else goes.
Of course.
Yeah, that's basically the same thing. And there's stuff in pop music. These things exist not only in jazz, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're the lick, right? Right. You can hear that in so many things. Is it because everyone's trying to copy the lick? No, it's because it's a series of notes that gets used just like any other.
And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it, and you can put it in all 12 keys. You can put it in every song. You can put it in every transcription. You can find it in every transcription.
Okay, so for the average, not jazz enthusiasts out there, define shedding and define what a lick is.
Oh, dude, I fucking love it. All right, do you want shedding or do you want lick?
I can take shedding.
All right, you want to go shedding first? I'll describe what a lick is after.
Sure. There's folklore around this. I don't know if it's true or not. It sounds like it could be true. Shedding is practicing. It's just anything that you're practicing your instrument or with an instrument that you're practicing music. But it actually came from people going out into the woodshed to practice because their instruments were really loud, especially in New York, where you have all these neighbors. Now I don't know the validity of that. I mean, it's a cool story though. So but it's practicing. Shedding is practicing.
Yeah, shedding is definitely practicing. When you're in the shed, you're practicing, and it's not just the saxophone, bro. It could be organizing music. Shedding could be like making beats or practicing scales or doing a transcription or writing a song. Anything, any work that you're putting in. You could shed like shit. Like when you're in the woodshed, you could be mixing and mastering a track. You know what I'm saying? That's still shedding. You know what I'm saying? You're still shedding something.
Yeah. Right.
A lick. Oh, my friends. Where do I start with a lick? A lick is any little chunk of music that you can play and practice in all 12 keys and incorporate in your playing. A lick could be 2 notes. It could be 3 notes, 4 notes. It could be 4 measures. It could be 8 measures. It could be a whole A section of a song. A lick is really just a preconceived phrase that you have thought out, the music theory, how it's going to resolve, which notes land where, at what time, what scale you're going to be using, what sound you're going to be outlining. And that shit is pre-made. Like, we thought of this in the shed. We thought of this lick in the shed, and now you use the lick in your song, So, like, you're taking the solo, and you're kind of freestyling, and you got a 2-5-1 coming up, so you plug that lick in there, and it sounds fucking dope because you practiced it for about 8 hours, so it better sound dope. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. Here's the problem with licks. You don't want to become only a lick player because that
a lick man.
It gets very predictable.
Yeah,
and if you're listening to the wrong player at the wrong time, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you want to have licks ready to go. That's like the technique in your fingers, you know what I'm saying? That's how you get good practicing licks in all 12 keys because you want that dexterity in all 12 keys. But when you use a lick, it's got to be like you got to save it, you know what I'm saying? It's got to be at the right time because if you just play your licks throughout a whole solo, you're going to run out of ideas in 10 seconds and then you're going to be like, "Oh shit, what am I just going to play the same licks again?" Spread your licks out, you got to improvise and then plug and chug and then improvise and then plug and chug. So
there was I think it was a graduate, like some sort of essay, maybe a dissertation that this guy put together maybe a few years ago, and it was talking about, he compiled every single recording of Bird, Charlie Parker, and all of his improvisations. And
Every single Bird recording, every single one.
Transcribed them and then looked at all of them and looked for similarities. And what he came up with was, I forget the exact number, but Bird had 13 things, right?
Oh, you've told me this. Yeah. I know, yeah.
You could play them out in your hand if they were on cards, right?
Yeah.
He had 13 things, but what made him the virtuoso that he was is that he knows how to use those in as many different spots as possible. But there's other people like my professor, Professor Diego Rivera at Michigan State. He always talks about comparing John Coltrane to John Henderson and or Joe Henderson.
Joe Henderson, yeah.
Train has, a bunch of stuff that he plays many different ways, but Joe Henderson has just a ton of stuff. Like he just has, every single thing is new, and that would be what you would call closer to like full, improvisation, something like almost improving every single note. But that's very difficult, and there are people, some of the best people of this music that play this music alive today. There are people that they will never reach that. I mean, I'm likely of that, I don't know how long I would have to stay in the shed to have new stuff every single solo, it would be a long time.
And that's the thing. Every time you learn a lick, just like a transcription, you forget it, dude.
Yeah.
Every time you learn a tune, you forget it. You learn 5 tunes and you forget 10 of them. So it's just like constantly trying to like repack that information and just like tread. You're basically treading water on forgetting shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just trying to stay
That's
above
funny, yeah.
water and like try to remember as much as you can.
Yeah. That's funny. And Kevin, what you were saying about the capability of like reaching, some of these jazz greats. I was watching. It was either a YouTube documentary or y'all seen that Chasing Train documentary that's on Netflix. And I think Jimmy Heath was talking about Coltrane after their shows, and he would just go up to his room and would just practice. And they were hanging out together, and Jimmy Heath, I guess they were in somebody's room, and their baseball was on, or it was on the radio, maybe, I'm not sure. And Train he said he had no idea who any of the players were or what they were even talking about, because he was always only playing his horn. Like that's that's amazing. But that definitely shows. But
on heroin, fucking jacked
well, that's
up.
true. Yeah, but he stopped. He stopped after a while. But yes, that you're not wrong.
Yeah, well, that gets into a whole other topic that we can say for a different podcast. But
Yeah.
But Jimmy Heath is a shining example of actually he just passed, I believe.
Not too long ago. Yeah.
So but anyways, Jimmy is a great example of someone who he was around for these legends. He got to see in person, and he was that gave him an impression like this isn't not just something that we can do half-heartedly. Like if we're gonna make this music together, we should be at the top of our game. And you can hear it in this improvisation. I mean, all these guys, it's incestuous. Everyone has licks from everybody else. You can listen to Melissa Aldana, and she has 6 different licks that Chris Potter played last week at the 5 spot in New York. You know what I mean? These guys, all they do, and it's tough, right? Because if you're not making, great bread, playing jazz all the time, it's tough to find time to shed. But that is, ultimately that's everyone's goal. It's just to know the language that's in the zeitgeist. And things become old, I mean, there are licks that when people hear them, like for instance, the lick, people, that's a meme now, It's been played so much that like when people hear it, they look up and like,
it's funny.
Yeah. Like you can vibe someone for using the lick too many times in their solo,
So who was it that originally played the lick?
Oh, bro, like there is no original.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, the first 4 notes of a Dorian minor.
Mm-hmm.
So and then the flat 7. Yeah.
So, I mean, you can put that however many ways that you want, but the first part, all he's doing is he's outlining, well, let's see. That was in concert F. So basically, look, here's what happens, right? If you're just sitting there noodling with your horn, you're going to find cool shit, but it doesn't mean that no one else has found that before. So I don't know if there is a definitive, like, this is the guy who, like, started the lick. I know that Adam Neely, who runs a YouTube channel, he kind of, like, he popularized it by making a video talking about the ubiquity of the lick. You know, there's other examples of that, things that fall out of fashion.
Cool. Yeah. I was not familiar with it until like 2 years ago, or it might have been 2 or 3 years ago when I was at college, and we were in like our saxophone masterclass, and there's like, you know, there's the classical players and there's the jazz players, and he had, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, somebody was up playing and he played the lick, and everybody just started laughing, and I was like, "What's everybody laughing about?" And they were telling me, they're like, "Well, that's the lick that everybody knows," and I'll have to learn it though. You said it's only 5 notes.
Yeah, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 in minor, and then back to the second, and then flat 7 to 1.
Okay.
Yeah. But what happens when something becomes that popularized, you then are able to use it as more of a harmonic tool to go into stuff outside of like what's written on the changes.
Yeah, but that's a whole other podcast right there.
Yeah. We got multiple podcasts we got to do with y'all, because y'all got some great information.
No, we're so grateful to be here, man. Really.
Man.
Yeah,
really.
no, I'm grateful to have y'all, because this is amazing. I was telling everybody, I was like, look, you know, I was sending them the live stream link. I was like, y'all got to tune in. I got this dope musician duo on here. I was like, y'all got to tune in. But Blase, real quick, put your sax up in the camera real quick. This dude got a black and gold saxophone.
Gang shit.
Well, you got a custom EX, yeah. The
No, it's just
Yamaha.
the custom 5. It's the one before it.
Oh, really?
One before the custom Z.
Nice. Get that full roundabout view. What you got, Kevin? What you playing on?
Bro, look at the front. Come on, man.
No, you got the gold flowers with the black. Oh, it's too fire.
Yep.
Kevin, what you play on? What's your alto like?
This is an EX. This is an EX. I got it originally for classical because Ron Jones, as you know, Kevin, was a Yamaha guy. So I got it way back in the day. This puppy's actually insured.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mine isn't.
Hey, don't drop it, Blase. Dang. Yeah.
My tenor isn't, but yeah. So I've been playing on this thing. I mean, before I had this, I had like a 23 or something. So
Yeah.
this thing since high school.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was playing all through YPass. I was playing on a Yamaha. I don't know if it was, I can't remember, but I had my student model in middle school, but then I got a new saxophone in like 7th or 8th grade. But when I got it from Miles Ahead, right? And I'm as y'all know, that dude's name was Miles Davis. I always thought that was so funny.
God, bro,
Yeah.
I know, and he runs a music store, and but he sold it, by the way. Y'all probably know, but
it's
Yeah.
music and arts now.
oh, okay. But anyways, I for years, Mr. Jones was trying to get me to altissimo, and I could not get, like, I was like opening my throat and, you know, doing all the special right techniques, and this horn I had I was not producing the notes. So senior year at YPass, like the second semester, I got this custom EX2.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was amazing. And then this is what I've used all through college. And but I could finally hit those altissimo notes, because like I took it in to Miles and like multiple times and had him look at it and fix it and play, and he was like, honestly, you might have a dud, man, because like he was like, I don't understand why you can't hit these notes, and I was like, I don't either, because at this point I was a senior at YPass, and I was like, so I just had to, just buy a new one, but it's I forgot all about that.
A long time with Altissimo.
That's true.
Great lesson where you just play chromatically all the way up to the top, the tippest note,
the tippy top. Yeah,
and that note, that's the one you stay on for that day, and the next day you hit the next one, and that's the only fucking note you play for that day, and then the next day you hit the next one, and you just keep just one note at a time, But that's also easier said than done if you can't hit the first note. And the first center is always the hard one.
What is that? Is that high G? Is that Altissimo G?
Yeah, it's high G.
See, I used to be able to get chromatically. I could get high F sharp and then go chromatically G sharp, and A. But I can't remember the fingerings for G's. I can get A.
Once you get past A, it's just all in the palm keys. You just go up chromatically with your palm keys again.
Really?
Yeah, except it's different notes though. But you just go up chromatically with the palm keys.
See, I can get A. I can't remember the...
Hit A and then put down D on palm key D.
Here, just play palm key D with the octave key, and that should be a B natural.
Well, let him get the B flat first.
Wait, so play out. So the Altissimo A fingering, and then hit the palm key D.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, that'll B flat.
I don't know how loud this is in my mic because I'm right on the...
Okay. See, there you go.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's close. It's just...
And then B natural is just palm key D. And then C is with the E flat key. And then once you hit C sharp, it's just you press that side key down below to make it a full E fingering. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you just growing up chromatically with the palm keys, and that's it.
Okay. Now, so that I don't know why I've never thought to. I had this book.
I just learned it like a year ago, so don't feel bad, bro.
No, yeah, I had this book that told all the fingerings, and I could never find it, and I've been looking for it, but I should have just hit y'all up and asked you. But
those fingerings are for those are a bunch of alternate fingerings, because when you're playing a really hard classical piece, sometimes that's not going to work. Like, you need to use different ones to get in and out of phrases differently. So those ones are like the traditional ones. Really, once you get past A and then B flat, it's just all up the palm keys. And then once you get past the palm keys, that's when you start to get into the meta of is this a real note on the horn or not?
Mm-hmm.
I believe the book that you're talking about, Kevin, is written by Rasher, who was
yeah. Mm-hmm. I can't find it. I used to have it. I don't know where it is.
World-renowned, saxophonist, and played with many symphony orchestras and stuff like that. And it's a great resource. That's the thing, like we were mentioning before. Classical music is not... You don't have to learn classical music to get to jazz, but it sure does help technically,
And being able to read music. A lot of jazz players just learn jazz. They don't know how to read, and that stops them later on down the road when they need to read. And then
That's another reason what you were saying you're thankful about growing up classically trained, almost, and learning how to read music, which you're right, is very important. So...
Yep. Absolutely, man.
That's sweet, man. Man, we could talk about this forever. What a great show, man. I've had these last couple weeks. These last couple weeks, I've had really good shows, man. This is dope. So, talking about Coltrane and Jimmy Heath and Bird, who y'all listen to? Who are your biggest inspirations on sax?
On saxophone?
Yeah, and music in general, but yeah.
Redman and Sonny Rollins were the two biggest pushes for me. Damn, I want to sound like these people. Coltrane was always really dope, but sometimes Coltrane was a little too dope for me.
I was gonna say, so how many Coltrane solos have you transcribed?
Coltrane's fucking hard, man.
I was gonna say props to you if you could even, I'm sure you can, but no, I know.
It just takes time, bro. Like I said, it takes so much time. It doesn't you can't just bang it out in a week, bro. This shit's gonna take you a month. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
One solo, fucking 1 minute and 39 seconds. That shit'll take you months, bro. You might not even get all the parts, cause some of the notes, you can only slow it down so much to where you lose the actual pitch. And the key is slowing it down, because if you're not slowing it down, you can't do shit about it. Just be listening to it again.
Right.
But there's a fine point of where you slow it down too much to where you lose the notes. And at that point, sometimes it sounds like it could be one of two notes, like you just don't know. Like sometimes you can't write it down because it's like in between beats, and man, it's crazy. Like transcribing is a hell of a process, man.
Oh yeah. One of the first that I learned was that Mr. Jones showed me was Miles Davis' solo on So What.
Yep. That's a great one to start with, dude. That's literally, if you want to start transcribing, just go pick that solo up, man, and listen
Freddie
to
Freeloader
it.
is
And
another one.
you'll be surprised at how quick you pick that one up, because like you'll be like, oh shit, all right, because there's only a certain amount of notes. You know what I'm saying? There's only 12 notes.
Yeah.
When someone's singling them out like that and playing it that melodically, it's a little bit easier to pick up. But for me, what's really hard is transcribing chords. We've been talking about transcribing a solo, a single note line. Trying to transcribe a chord, like what is the harmony behind this note, is for me pretty much impossible. Like trying to figure out what the harmony is tough, but then trying to figure out what the voicing is after that, for me, like, man, I'm a saxophone player. That shit is just so hard, and I'm starting to pick up piano so I can get more susceptible to learning and playing by ear on a chordal instrument, because recognizing what chord is being played behind whatever given like melody note is almost more important than trying to figure out what the melody note is, because the harmony and the root note is what determines all of the music.
It's the context.
Yeah, it's the context for which the melody lives and exists in. So that's a whole side to transcribing.
Facts. Gems. Y'all got all the gems.
Dude, I could talk for hours, man.
I swear, man.
I this is an interesting question you're asking about who, we've listened to, or who our influencers are, or who our influences are. And, I listen to people that I've never, ever transcribed. I mean, some of my favorite players, take, for instance, I've only transcribed a little bit of Chris Potter, and it was that lick that you just heard us play moments ago.
Yeah.
But I would say he's one of my favorite saxophonists, period, ever. So, and that's partially because when you go to college, there's something set in place, or at least for me, the way that my professor did it is he has, for every year, you're transcribing a different person. And so my last year, I was doing train for like the whole year. And, learning train on alto is interesting. It gives you a lot of insight into... I personally, like, I love this thing, don't get me wrong, but ever since I got into college, I questioned whether or not, I should look at, like, playing tenor.
You should play tenor. If you're watching this, you should play tenor.
I haven't played tenor since high school.
Yeah, but then I bought a tenor, and I found my voice really resonates with tenor in a larger way than on alto, but I learned that through partially transcribing tenor players. I mean, my first year, we were transcribing Lester Young and Ben Webster, because those cats, I mean, they invented the language that we speak today, And another point that I want to get to is, like, there's this weird, there's a misconception about jazz as if it's, like, not, bebop is a modern language. It is modern music. Bebop exists in modern music in a way that many other genres don't. And like fusion and all of that, where'd that come from? Hard bop, that all came from bebop. So learning solos from 40 years ago, you would think they don't have as much context as they actually do in today's music. But the more and more you transcribe that stuff, the more you realize that everything is built off of each other, that incestuous relationship. You stand on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah. And Charlie Parker, bro, he was carrying around Beethoven and Bach scores.
Dude, he was trying to work with Stravinsky for a while.
Yeah, he would just walk around with scores in his pocket, because that's where he was getting his ideas, his licks from. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can only create so much in your mind to where you have to figure out, you have to use more external input. You got to put shit in there. You can't just create it all in here, And that's what he means by standing on giants, looking at these other huge amounts of work by these huge classical composers. It all comes from the classical stuff. Well, Western music does, because we use a different tonal system. So that's just,
Yeah, I guess you could say it's just taking a bunch of giant steps.
You might say that, Kevin.
You might say that. You might say that if you were Coltrane.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's get to some of these other points on here, man. We got
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. That was like point 6 talking about jazz. That's awesome. So you already talked about playing, why you wanted to play the saxophone, who inspires you, your creative process. So all right, so you guys, I'll say this, okay. Every time I talk about jazz to like people, just some of my friends, they're like, what? Or like the number one thing is jazz is dead. So you guys, all right, we're going to talk about that, but also, so you guys play in bands. So what is the, in those bands, are y'all playing and shedding your bebop stuff, or what? So hit on those 2 points. So what do you say when someone says jazz is dead?
All right. Well, jazz is not dead, but the bands that we play with aren't always jazz. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you want to go ahead and tackle the jazz? I'll tackle the bands.
Sure.
And then you can plug Top Shelf after that.
So I have a gig that goes on in Indiana, Match Cigar Bar, every first Saturday of the month. We play from 9 to 11, and that band is bebop. I mean, we play like jazz standards, stuff that your grandma would recognize because she listened to Frank Sinatra live at the Sands. Stuff that, and there is a certain level of, I guess you could call it, it feels almost ethereal in a way, as if it will always exist and in some capacity, just because those records are so good. I mean, for many years, if you look at top charting albums, like still to this day, Kind of Blue is up there as most ever sold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Commercial success wise, that record still sits at the top.
Yep.
So you have to realize that there's a context to all of this. Yes, popular music is popular, but guess what these cats were playing? Popular music. Everything originally came from the stage, from theater. And those works by Hammerstein and all these great composers that put together stuff like I Love Lucy, all these other, pieces of theater, those became popular music. And then that popular music was taken by jazz musicians and turned into standards. Yeah. So usually what would happen is they would change a little bit of the chord changes to make it a little more spicy. And then they would put a swing to it, and then all of a sudden you have tunes that originally appeared in a Gershwin, production that are now being played in the jazz clubs. But the question of jazz is dead or not, you can turn on, go look on NPR Tiny Desk and look at how many musicians have studied jazz music to get to where they are.
Yeah, well, jazz music is really just the foundation. It gives you the tools and the skills that you need to work with all other genres. You don't get that from playing classical. You might understand music a little bit and you might have some hella good fingers on you, but dude, if you're not actively practicing improvising and like comping for, if you're a piano player, practicing comping for a singer, practicing comping for a horn player, practicing just being the main focus in a smaller rhythm section, like, dude, jazz is what gives you the building blocks to make all the other music. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like when you hear that dope like R&B soul kind of like warm luscious feel in your chest, that's all jazz voicing. That's what that's so it's like
those are great points. Yeah.
It's just malted into a lot of other different kind of bugs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just everywhere now. Like it's in all music. It's not exactly jazz. They're not swinging and playing a bunch of bebop solos, but the stuff that was created in jazz is in all of it.
That's amazing. Sweet. It's a whole different perspective. So tell us about these bands you all are in.
Man, right now there's not a lot of gigs because of COVID, but prior to COVID, man, I've played in pretty much just about every, because I went to school in Kentucky too, and a lot of big bands pull from the U of L faculty to fill spots. So I've played in pretty much every band around Louisville. I used to play consistently with the company band, which is strictly a wedding band, but I had a falling out with them because they were really, really unprofessional about a lot.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
That's a whole other podcast, buddy. I could talk about that.
We got 4 podcasts to do. A whole nother podcast.
But anyway, I don't play with them anymore because I just, they were paying me more. But when you look at how much time it's consuming out of your day, you're actually making less money than I was playing with these other bands where I'm getting paid less, but I'm there for less. You know what I'm saying? So I play consistently with the Times band. I used to be in a band called Blase, which is like a fucking rock band, but that band broke up. We still have an EP out on the internet on all major platforms if you want to look it up, Blase. But what I'm really getting into nowadays is because gigs have pretty much dried up, and I've played thousands of gigs. Like I've got that experience. I've been getting pushed into more like composing and arranging and like producing and sound engineering. Like I just came out with 2 albums with one of my best buddies in the whole world. His name's Matt Vicente, but he goes by Rosario. We just came out with 2 albums, and I literally recorded it in my fucking sunroom with him playing guitar and singing. I played saxophone, keys, bass, drums, recorded, mixed and mastered, submitted the shit, everything. And that was more precious to me than any gig that I've ever played in my life. So if I can just keep albums with people, I would rather do that than play another gig, especially when you have to deal with the bullshit that comes from playing with like a wedding band or like the company band or shit like that, where wires get crossed and people get just bullshit happens, literally just bullshit. But I do love playing live. There's something you can't replace about that. I've played with a fully packed audience in the Kentucky Center before with the Louisville Orchestra. I've all up and down Kentucky and Indiana and Nashville and shit. And I love playing. I'll play with anybody. I played a show with a rapper the other night, bro. Rappers will DM me, call me.
Playing sax on rap shows is so fun.
Yeah, it's chill, but it's also sucks because there's not a real spot for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just kind of want me to add on top. And that can be, I can do it, but it can also be annoying. Like, that's part of, like, one of the things when I was playing with Blase Louisville, which is a rock band. They were playing rock shit, bro. Like, not just, like, some alternative. They were playing, like, death metal. And I was like, I can play some things here and there, but there's not a real spot for a saxophone, which has pushed me into playing piano and keys more. Because, I like being able to play with them instead of,
right,
top of them,
Well, that's an interesting point.
Yeah, talk about Top Shelf, man.
Yeah, so I'm in a great band. We basically started rehearsing right as COVID hit, and so we took some time off for that. But we play really regularly. We have 2 gigs coming up in October. The 24th, we're going to be at Floyd County Brewery, and we're going to. They have like a forested area with like a giant stage. It's going to be super. It'll be fun. And we're also, so we'll be there for the night before Halloween. So if you want to come get weird, we're going to have a contest and a beer drinking contest.
Oh.
But it is all covers. We do covers of popular music. So we play stuff like Don't Stop Believin'.
Yep.
We play stuff like Blink-182.
Just like a wedding band, pretty much.
Yeah, we play modern, more modern stuff. We have like Harry Styles is on our set list, Britney Spears. I mean, stuff that bar bangers, I guess is what you would call them. But that's, when Blase talks about commercial, that would be what you would consider a commercial band. A band that plays music for the audience, Whereas something that is playing for not just the audience, but to impress themselves.
And a more niche audience. Like people that pull up to like a jazz set, they want to hear solos. They want to hear bebop.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, yeah. When we were talking about like jazz, yeah.
Yeah, but people that just pull up to a jazz not knowing what to expect.
Exactly.
Might not be their thing, because they haven't listened to it their whole lives and have a frame of reference for what's actually going on right in front of their eyes. They're just seeing a bunch of dudes wailing and freaking out and moving and fucking looking at each other and laughing and calling tunes at the fucking drop of a hat. Like, oh, you know this tune? I don't know. Let's pick a different one. It's really just thrown together sometimes, and that's the beauty of it. It's just like freestyle rapping, man. And like being able to fully communicate with somebody, not just like another horn player, but for instance, with the drums or with the rhythm section or with the bass, being able to like vibe with them without even having to look, without having to say anything, that is like a superhuman ability. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is crazy and it happens all the time and people don't, pay enough attention to it. Well, it's probably because they don't know how crazy it is until they try to do it them damn selves. But yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Well, that's cool. So, Kevin, can you run over those dates again for the band that y'all are playing?
So the 24th, we're going to be at Floyd County Brewery. And then on the 30th, we're going to be at Gersel's, and we'll play there into the night, into Halloween. So it'll be super fun.
Gerstles is the beer drinking contest?
Yeah, you better believe it, man.
Okay.
Oh, also, be sure to check out our stream on Twitch. It's called Sax Bros. We're streaming on it, and I had this computer build with a Mac that I'm actually using right now to do this phone call thing. But I actually just spent a fuck ton of money on a sick ass PC. So like I'm building this fucking PC right now, and this shit's gonna be a goddamn supercomputer, and the stream is gonna be flawless after that. So check out our stream. We like to talk saxophone and practice and, screen share, and people give us options on what to do. We also make beats on there, just like rap beats and shit. So check out our stream. It's fucking dope. I should probably delete all the videos that are on there right now because they're unwatchable, because this fucking setup only had 8.
I remember you talking about that. That's right.
Bro, if you watch it, it's actually cringy how unwatchable it is. Like, it's glitchy everywhere. But yeah, check out our stream.
What's it called? What's the Twitch channel? What is it?
Sax Bros.
Sax Bros. Dope, man. Cool.
So,
well, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm live on Twitch right now with the podcast. I'm just trying to get people to follow the channel, man. Now, so what do you do exactly when you're streaming? I know you said you practice, but like what else? Like,
so we'll take a topic and just kind of focus on it. Like, today we're going to be practicing scales. Showing you a bunch of different ways on how to do scales, and we'll put it up on the screen and type it into a whole music notation software so you can see exactly what notes we're playing. And then just talking to the audience and just having a good time, just practicing, pulling up links and shit, and just like sometimes they'll ask us like, hey, play this, and we'll go find a link and we'll try to play it for them. And really it's more of a vessel for us to practice, but also have people, because man, people would kill to watch what we're doing in here, because we have a lot of knowledge and we have a lot of skills. We got a lot of technology at our fingertips, and it's a great place to learn for a lot of people. Like, we have this one guy who's literally our number one fan. He's a faithful listener. Shout out. His name on Twitch is Ham Sandwich. He's a fucking hell of a guy. But his real name is Luca. He's like a saxophone player as well. He's a student. And he was watching our streams and talking to us and chatting us about what we're doing. We're talking about playing train changes and alternate changes and doing a bunch of crazy shit. And he was picking it up on top of the fact that the connection was almost unwatchable, and he still was just riding.
Yeah.
Did you say his name was? You said his name was Luca.
Yeah, that's his first name.
Okay, that's crazy, because I did a band camp at U of L in 7th grade in the summer, and me and this kid Luca were like, me and him were like best friends that whole week. That he was like,
but he's like a younger guy though. So we were really helping him with some shit, like playing in different ways and dissecting it as we're doing it, like pausing the video and talking to what we just did.
Yeah,
it's been really fun interacting with the audience, because the Twitch community is just beautiful people, bro. Like, these people care. Like, for when the connection was really shitty, we were trying everything to fix it, bro. And the Twitch community, the people that were watching, were helping us. They were like, hold on, let me reboot my computer. Maybe it's my connection. They all rebooted and all hopped back in the lobby, and it was still shit. So they're like, hold on, maybe you reboot. We rebooted, came back, it was still shit. They're like, hold on, maybe try just like connecting the connection directly to the laptop. So I went out and bought a fucking adapter and connected it right to the laptop. I even upped the amount of internet that we're getting per month now. And still, it was shit, bro, because this thing only has 8 gigs of RAM, and it's just not set up to stream. So it was trash. But the Twitch community was right there for every step of the process. They were helping us, even though it was almost unwatchable. And that's what just blew my mind about Twitch, bro.
Yeah. Hey, look, I know you with your hard drive and stuff, Blase. I'll say about everything that your hard drive broke, right?
Well, it got corrupted. It really
corrupted.
Just recognized I had to roll back to a previous update. But
well, I'll say this: some engineer in Nashville taught me this real early. If it ain't backed up in 3 places, it ain't backed up. You know what I'm saying? I got like 4 hard drives right now that I had 2 that I copy. Yeah.
Hey, drives. What are you still doing getting hard drives?
No, they are solid. I just say that like they're. Hold up.
Because hard drives is basically just a glorified flash drive. Yeah, there you go, dude.
Yeah, no, I got two of these, and then I got the Western.
Yeah, Western Blue. I got one of those too.
Western Digital. Yeah, let's compare hard drives, guys.
Dude, hey, bro, hold on. Let's look at our graphics card for a minute. Let's compare graphics cards, son.
Oh, Blase got this whole alien ass computer he just bought. The
fucking-
aliens gave Blase this computer.
Dude, literally, I sold my soul for this computer.
No, but we're really excited. Like the whole reason that Blase like jumped on getting a nice PC
Right.
was so
Yeah.
green, you know. So
Dude, and right now, especially like Twitch, people are like blowing up on Twitch now, bro. You know, Twitch has been around for years.
yeah,
Like, bro, like I was watching, there's a show on YouTube called the Red Bull Remix Lab with T-Pain, and he brings all these producers in and they remix his songs. And that was in like 2017, 2018, and they were going live on Twitch. So it's just like I didn't know that. I thought Twitch was relatively new, and I guess it kind of is, but not. I mean, you know, a couple years.
Well, the huge popularity, I think, is what's new.
Oh yeah, you know, definitely. But like everybody's, you know, streaming on Twitch now. When you do a stream, people quit streaming on YouTube and exclusively stream on Twitch. You know.
yeah, quite a few,
Yeah,
quite a few.
because it's a better platform for it, man. YouTube is, Christ, dude, the fucking commercials and shit, like.
Hey, I've seen I've had 3 commercials come on before my video.
Yeah.
And now it's at least like 2 commercials now. But anyways, a couple more things I want to ask about. You guys been anywhere out of the country or around the world or in the country playing music and doing your thing? What?
You want me to hop on or you?
I can go ahead.
Yeah.
I did. I've been all through the school system of Detroit. Through Michigan State, we would play for free for the schools of Detroit. But then as far as other countries, I went my senior year on a trip to Japan. And that was, I mean, the people over there, and they're so kind and also so respectful. But, you know, they have this infatuation with jazz music as well. And so you'll walk past a bar and you'll see killing 3-piece group like playing changes, you know, playing bebop. So that was super fun. We went to like the top colleges for music there and stuff, and worked with their bands and everything. I had such a great time doing that. And outside of that, we went on a trip to New York in high school. And
Dude, I've been out of the country a ton. Instead of walking at graduation, I went to a jazz program trip to Ecuador. Stayed there for about 2 weeks, and we worked with their jazz program and like basically taught them a bunch of master classes. And we stayed with the locals, and I met some amazing people I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And that was one of the groundbreaking things for me, is playing music outside of the country. And but I've also been out of the country a lot with just my family and just traveling. I've been to Mexico on 2 different sides. I've been to the Dominican Republic. I've been to Cozumel. I fucking love traveling. My mom kind of instilled that in me, and it's one of the things that I look forward to most in life, because every trip I've made friends that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And, you know, those people love and support my music, and those people will fucking do anything for me if I was in that country. You know, it's like that type of shit. You just you don't get that from traveling around the States.
Yeah, no, that's true. And Kevin, that's interesting what you said about going to Japan. And I know they love jazz music over there. Like I know that in America, when jazz was kind of getting less popular, like I know a lot of the big band, at least the leaders took all their players over there. And like I know Joe Henderson has an album over there, I think, and a bunch of them went over there and played because they love. That's interesting.
Hey, Kevin, because I can't see you, man.
What's up?
Can you see us?
Yeah.
All right, well, I can't see you.
We can't see you, but that's all right.
What's it say?
Yeah.
What?
No, it's just, I think, you know, part of it is because Japan was not really open culturally for many, many years.
Yeah.
And when they did finally open, it was that time in America when jazz was really popularized, as well as stuff like blue jeans and fast food. You know, those things, they're big over there.
Yeah.
And so they have taken an impression of us. But, you know, that's not to say that there aren't killing players, people who really know how to swing and, you know, can actually play this music. There's many cats over there that could hang with the bands in America.
Yeah.
And like you said, many black artists, especially, went to places like Europe and Japan and other faraway lands because of either recording contracts or just not being appreciated to their, to what they believe they should be. And I mean, Dexter Gordon lived in Paris towards the
Yeah.
end of his.
Yeah.
There's many examples of that.
Sweet, man.
Yeah, man. My goal in life is to travel to as many countries as I can, man. And if I don't cross them all off the list, I want, whoever's after me to spread my ashes in the remaining countries. I love traveling that much.
Dope. Dope.
You're gonna make me cry.
Yeah. Don't make us. Yeah. Don't make us cry, Blaze.
Trying to.
Yeah. All right. So big questions here. Some of the biggest questions on the podcast is, what have you all realized about the creative scene in Louisville, in recently and in the past? And when I say the creative scene, I mean literally like everything creative overall, from musicians to artists to visual artists to photographers, all that. Like, what's any big realizations that you've hit, or like what in general? Just tell me what you think.
Louisville is a hot spot that no one even fucking knows about, bro. People are sleeping on Louisville, Kentucky, and everybody always talks shit about their hometown, but once you move away and you come back and you realize, man, this place is just popping, bro. Because we got the perfect mix of like the urban north with like the southern hospitality mixed in between, and we got a vast variety of people here. We're right next to a river. We got a huge, beautiful downtown city with gigs and just fucking opportunity everywhere, and everybody's doing something. It's like a little miniature version of a big city. We got suburbs, and then farther out we got the sticks. We got the country. But I think Louisville, Kentucky is one of the most underrated cultural and artistic hot spots, data centers in the whole world. So,
Yeah, I would second that. I also there's something that comes along with having as many nice restaurants and great food in the area. But if you look at a place like Bardstown Road, I mean, there's so many cool little shops and just people who have taken time to create a business out of what they love. I mean, I met the guy who runs Vintage Banana. He originally started reselling clothes, in 2016, and he bought himself a brick and mortar store based off of his thrifting. That's what everyone hopes for, is that you can turn what you love into what you do. And so, I think another thing is that there are a lot of venues,
yeah.
not just for music, but we have outlets for everything. So you can go and see like a poetry slam, and the same night you can go and hear live music at a bar, and you have 8 different genres to pick from, because Sally down the street is playing an R&B real chill set, while Johnny McDaniels is on the 6th string. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Kevin? This is your show. What have you learned?
Tell us something.
What have you learned from doing this show about the creatives here and the opportunity?
Well, I would say the biggest thing that I've learned just from having so many people on the show is so many different, a lot of recording artists and rappers and singers, but so many different perspectives, is people's open-mindedness. Like I've talked a lot about, like, a lot of people will say very similar things, that, Louisville is definitely underrated, or that nobody knows about it. And from like, it's just the thing that I've kind of reiterated a few times, is just the business side of the creative and whole entertainment, that I just feel like it's just not, I'm not going to say it's not professional, but it's just not there yet. And
There exactly it, man.
I would say.
But I would say the biggest thing really is that everybody's open-minded, and then everybody that's been on the show has been, very excited about it, and like, but, and again, the goal is just to shine light on people like you guys and all Louisville creatives. And so, it's just, it's really interesting, and it's a lot of fun getting to host something like this, so.
Man, dude, thank you for having us, man. I can't thank you enough.
Dude, yeah.
Podcast for a minute, it's good to be here, and good
Right.
to be here with Kev, dude. We have a great conversation today, man. We should, dude. We got so much more to talk about, man. Whenever you got a free spot, if someone cancels on you, just hit me up, dude. We can podcast again.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've already got a guy that was on like episode 6. He's coming back in like 3 weeks. We're gonna do kind of like a recap thing. But I definitely would love to talk to y'all again for sure.
Because we can get more in depth and about mixing and mastering and playing actual scales and patterns and stuff. Like we can go in depth on the gigs and the hiring. You know, we can go in depth on, you know, just meta about music being crazy in general. You know, there's so much left to talk about, but you know, we don't want to leave all the leaves overturned. We want to, you know, leave some for the next show.
It's a mystery.
Yeah, dude, for sure, totally. So what, y'all got something for us? Y'all want to play us a little tune or something?
Yeah. All right, get it started. Let me warm up my horn so I'm not out of tune. Totally forgot. We're gonna play some shit.
That's all right. Whatever y'all want to play, I know. Just whatever y'all want to do. I just want to hear y'all.
You want to blow an A real quick?
Fans on.
Did you say the fan's on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts chopping up and it gives you that yeah.
Is it me? I'm playing really flat. God damn it. This is what happens when you sit out here.
Yeah. It's a little chillier today though.
It is.
We're in the sunroom right now.
We got the windows up. Wanna just give it a go?
Yeah.
Oh, gotta connect to the speaker.
We're
going to use a backing track.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, that's cool.
Just so you guys can hear the harmony that relates to the melodies we're going to be laying down for you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a song called Portame. We're going to play the melody together, and then we're going to split off and take solos. And the solos is where the improvising, the freestyle rapping is going down. And that's where the dope shit happens. So let's get it.
Hold up.
Is it all the way turned up?
I don't know. Is it all the way turned up on here?
Yep. Yes, so.
Okay.
All right.
Uh-oh. Hey.
There you go.
Hey, yo, dude. Hey, that was dope. What? I've heard that tune before. What did you say it was?
Called Recordame.
Recordame. Yeah, that's a Joe Henderson tune, right?
Yep.
Yeah, dude, awesome. So, real quick, guys, Kevin was calling out like 4s and 2s. So at the end there, they're every 4 bars they're playing over the chord changes, and then they switch. So they would go through the whole tune with the chord changes, doing a solo, and then they'd come back, and then they would trade off 4 bars and trade off 2s. And even I see Kevin, you were playing chords under a little bit under Blase, just a little bit at one point. That just kind of goes along with what we were talking about, like that connection that y'all got, like y'all just knew and y'all play together so much.
You just kind of play, chord tones underneath, try to make them sound good,
Right.
Yep.
Just like a little booster. That's awesome, man. It's super dope. Y'all sound good. I knew I'd heard that tune before. I didn't hear what you kind of chopped up when you said it, Blase, but yeah, that's super dope.
Sweet, man. We're just so happy you had us, man.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate y'all for coming on and spreading y'all knowledge. Again, we got a couple more podcasts to do with this. We could talk.
Yeah.
Sit here and dissect solos. We can analyze chord tones and shit. Like, dude, if I were to pop up Sibelius right now, I could, write it in with the fucking notes and, But,
right.
Yeah, man, we'll have to link up again soon.
Yeah, for sure. Again, guys, you can find them, guys. These guys on Instagram. Blase is Blazertron_official. And Kevin, what's your Instagram?
Oh man, I just made it like a few days ago.
Is it like
Hang on.
I think it's just Kevin Dahl, like 11 or something.
Yeah, it's like 61 or. Where do I?
It's right there, Kevin Dahl.
Kevin Dahl 61.
Yep.
Hey, he's got our Lush Louisville post, his first post.
That's right.
Hell yeah. And but yeah, guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in. This was a great episode. The last couple of weeks, man, have been some good episodes. Really digging it. I appreciate y'all's knowledge and the time, and the tune was super awesome. And y'all just keep in touch. And guys, hit them up, man. Y'all need sax players for gigs or anything like that, bro. Hit them up.
Man, if you want to learn, you come over here and chill.
Yep.
For sure. Well, all right, guys. I appreciate it again. It's been a lot of fun. And you guys have any last words?
If you're gonna eat in Louisville with only $10, just fucking go home, bro. You need more than 10 to fuck with us, man.
Oh wow. Where would you go? All right. So where are we gonna? I did kind of forget about that segment. What? All right. So y'all got $10 in your pocket on a Friday night. Where are you going to eat?
Taco Luchador.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could. Yeah. What about you, Kevin?
Joy Luck.
Oh,
I go to
yeah.
Joy Luck.
And get what for $10?
$9.50 for the pad thai.
Okay.
Plus tip though. You got to pay tip.
Ah, shit. I'm gonna have to.
You're out. You're out of luck.
Do a few dishes in the back.
Yeah. There you go. But all right, guys. Well, y'all be safe. Again, great episode, and keep in touch.
Yeah,
All
man.
right, bro.
Most definitely. Appreciate y'all.
See you, buddy.
Man. What a great episode. That was awesome. I could sit there and talk with them for, as fellow musicians, man. We could talk about jazz and music forever. Again, we got so many podcasts to do with them, but that was awesome. I like that they played, man. I told them, I was like, y'all got to play something because they've just got that sound and that tone. It's just amazing. And I love hearing them play. I've sat in with them over in that sunroom and played with them, and I'm always like, let me play first because then they play. And but you know, that's just something that comes with learning to improvise and learning about jazz. And I've been really into jazz and playing it since junior year of high school, so it's been 5-6 years. I just don't practice enough anymore, but oh well, got to get on that. But yeah, guys, other than that, it was episode 17. We got episode 18 next week. We're almost done with season 2. That's crazy. We just keep bringing these creatives on and keep shining light, and that's pretty much all I got this week. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Is usually not. But again, this is one of Blaze's beats. I think he made it with Kevin. I've played this on here before. It's got a nice little vibe. So, but guys, appreciate everybody tuning in. Had a kid in here from Hippie Hood, Sunny D. Appreciate you. Shout out to Trevor. Shout out to Blaze and Kevin. Everybody that tuned in. Appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Lush Louisville. See y'all.